Right, hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're back with something a bit different. We've done this the last few seasons now, so we're going to be doing it again. We're going to be reviewing Swansea City's 2023-24 Championship season. Obviously we finished the season against Millwall, 1-0 defeat. It seems like ages ago now, but yeah, we're going to be doing a season review. Before we get into our part, we have got some guests on the channel, a few Swans YouTubers. We've got Goals Galore and we've got CurtisTheJack as well. So before we get into our part, we'll hand it over to them.
Hey guys, on pure SCFC Vlogs, it's Curtis Evans here, fellow Swansea City YouTuber and vlogger, and Jake and Luke have asked me to give a review of the recent season. Now, I think it's been a below average season for us, in my opinion. I take 14th after how we played this season, especially the Michael Duff era. Michael Duff was a very poor fit for us, I gotta say. Our transfers, apart from a couple, have been poor, most of them. I think 8 million's gone down the drain. Some of them worked out well, but quite a lot of them didn't work out well. I mean, when Luke Williams took over, things took time, but then things eventually took a turn then and guided us to the 14th place position. So, yeah, I think things have got better since Luke Williams got in. We played better football under him, unlike under Michael Duff. And yeah, I think Luke Williams is the man that will take us forward, and he needs to be backed in the summer. I think in terms of players we need to sign, it's got to be players that adapt to the Luke Williams system, and especially if we want to go forward as well. Hopefully next season will be a better season now under Luke Williams in his first full season in charge, and roll on to next season.
A huge thank you both for having me on the channel, an absolute honour as always. I'm here to talk about the end of season review for Swansea City. So, at the start of the season, of course, we had a summer of change after, of course, Russell Martin left in the summer to Southampton. A lot of players left, the likes of Joe Perreault and Ryan Manning, of course. But in the summer, though, we did spend quite a lot of money. And, of course, new manager Michael Duff. I can't lie, I was very optimistic of the season ahead, but of course that quickly went downhill after just a few games in charge. Michael Duff had just never really clicked in it, and you know, the defeat against Cardiff really did seal it, in my opinion. We just looked awful in that game and many of the other games under Michael Duff. We did have a period under him where it looked like we were going to start improving, but that was just a short-lived term of events. And then eventually getting sacked after the Huddersfield Town game. And then I thought Alan Sheehan did an incredible job over Christmas time. Wasn't easy. Of course, we did get battered in that time to Southampton, but the wins against Preston and that draw against Coventry and then the win against West Brom just before Luke Williams was appointed, they were some huge, huge results. Then Luke Williams coming in for the new year was like a breath of fresh air, just what the club needed, of course. Got us through in the FA Cup in his first game, then his first league game against Birmingham City, a 2-2 draw. And that was a sign for things to come in the short term. Scoring a few goals, conceding a few goals. But eventually, as the months continued to the end of the season, we did start to tighten up defensively. And going forward, we did start to score a few more goals. I think looking at the end of the season now, a lot of the games we've lost or, we were in the games, look at the likes of QPR at home, Millwall at home, they're only 1-goal defeats, we're in games, which is really positive going into next season. I did feel around February, March time, we could definitely be dragged into a relegation battle, and I think Luke Williams has done exceptionally well to keep our heads above water. That win against Hull, the win against Sunderland as well, and then Blackburn and Cardiff, the highlight of the season, that one. And then off to the end of the season, it was all about building for next season now in the Championship. So then my thoughts on Luke Williams, I'm really happy to have him. He's made the step up from League 2 to the Championship very, very well, in my opinion. Although he hasn't been in the job for too long, I think it's very exciting for next season. And it's good to have a manager in who's already had a bit of experience now in the Championship, going in instead of potentially getting him in the summer, where next season would have been his first season. I'm really glad we've got him in early. He's had a bit of time at the club now. He knows what to expect. He knows what he wants in the summer, more importantly. And I'm really excited now for next season under him. I do think he's the right man for the job. Very much reminds me of Russell Martin. I cannot wait for him to deliver here at Swansea City. I think there are definitely exciting times ahead. He gets it. I think after that Swans Cardiff win, he gets it. And of course, as fans, that's all we want to see. A manager who cares, and Luke Williams definitely cares. So then, going into next season, what can we expect? I think it's a big summer. Just like last season, we didn't get it right in the summer. This season, we have to get it right. Have to sign a few players, looking at positions like goalkeeper. I think defensively, that's where we need to build the foundations. The back four of Darling, Cabango, Timon and Key. I think that really has to be our foundations moving forward. Then Grimes in midfield. Of course, we need another midfielder next to him. And probably a left winger and a striker and an attacking midfielder in the summer. But next season, I'm very excited. As I was saying, we're in games under Luke Williams, and a bit of quality going into next season, and we can turn those narrow defeats into draws and those draws into victories, hopefully. So yeah, very looking forward to next season, and a huge thank you for having me on the channel. Really do appreciate it as always, and enjoy the rest of the videos, guys.
Yeah, so now we're on to our part then. So we're going to start with our thoughts on the season then. So I think, once again, it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy season. We've had some stand-up moments. We finished the season quite strongly, bar the Millwall game. And, over the course of the season, we're very inconsistent. A bit similar to last season, really. I know our last season we did finish 4 places higher up. But, in terms of the way it's gone, very similar to last season. We made a lot of signings, but not necessarily the right ones. Obviously the managerial appointment I think is the right one, but yeah, overall I just think it's a very very up and down season. But yeah, what do you think of the season?
Well, I think it's always going to be hard, obviously, since with Russell Martin leaving in the summer, it was always going to be hard for us to try and adapt to Michael Duff's style of play to start off with. Obviously, that didn't go to plan because of our fans just didn't really like him from the get-go, really, after what he said in an interview. And his football wasn't particularly great, and it just didn't really stick with us, great. So that was never really going to go well. And then we brought in obviously Alan Sheehan, who took over as interim, who I thought did a decent job for the type of games that he had. And then obviously Luke Williams, who we got now, who's done, I'd say he's done an okay job so far, and I think the fans definitely prefer him over Duff massively. So, but overall, compared to what our predictions were, which obviously we will be doing a video on our predictions at some point, but obviously it's not the best, but I suppose it's just a work in progress, just trying to build on what we have. Obviously we had a lot of loan signings as well, so we'll just have to see what happens in the summer and see how we can just improve, really.
Yeah, and then we're going to compare our predictions at the start of the season to where we actually finished then. So I predicted 5th, Luke predicted 7th, and we actually finished 14th. So, both of us were massively wrong there. But in our defence, we thought at that point Russell Martin was going to stay for a 3rd season. And I do stick to, what I said. I do think if we kept him, it would have finished that, around that sort of area. But I guess we'll never know. And then now we're going to discuss all the January and summer signings then.
I'll get them up.
Yeah, so we made quite a few signings across the season. So,
So we got Carl Rushworth to start off with.
Yeah, Carl Rushworth. We also brought in Nathan Broom as well. Bashir Humphreys, Josh Timon, Harrison Ashby, Josh Key,
Patino.
Yeah, Charlie Bettino, Plaqueta, Josh
Janelli, Charles Sego Jr., Ronald, Jamalo, and Kuhurich.
Yeah, and Jerry Yates as well. And then obviously there's some that we brought in which, either went on loan or only on a short month loan, like for example Balassi, and then his loan ended. And obviously we brought in, Nathan Tajoan and Christian Pedersen, who were both shipped out. So yeah, a lot of players we brought in, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, were they really the right signings? It depends, but we're going to give you our best and worst signing in our opinion then. So for best, I think there's a few that could be up there. I think you could, go with Jamal Lowe, Carl Rushworth. You could even go with maybe Ronald, Josh Timon, Josh Key. But for me, there's only one, standout signing for me, and our best signing of the season is Carl Rushworth. Worst sign of the season, I'd probably say Christian Pedersen, just because of how experienced he is, and the fact he only played a few games and then went out on loan anyway. But what about for you? Who's your best and worst signing, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say best. Well, I think if we had Ronald since the start of the season, maybe my opinion would change. But we've only had him for about 6 months now, so I think it's quite hard to judge him. But yeah, I think I'll agree with you on Carl Wishworth. I think he's definitely been one of the best keepers in the league this season. I thought he was robbed off the team of the season, to be honest. But there we are. Worst signing. It's quite a hard one, to be honest. Obviously, we've had some signings that have been injured, like Harrison Ashby, Josh Keane. It's not their fault. Obviously, Patino did struggle to get into the team second half of the season. Paqueta only been here a few months. It's harsh. Like you got Charles Sago Jr., who we signed. He played
2 games.
Probably like 120 minutes of football. And it's shocking, but I think I'll go for Charlie Patino. Actually, I think there's a lot of hype for him. I thought he was decent under Michael Duff, but I think since Luke Williams came in, I feel like he's been struggling to get into a team and start games on a consistent basis. And I think we saw him at Blackpool. He did really well when he was there on loan. And with all the hype, with all these Serie A clubs interested, I think it's a little bit over the top in my opinion. So I think I would actually go for Charlie Patino as my worst player. And I know that's debatable, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, and then we're going to give you our thoughts on the managers we've had this season. So, Michael Duff, Alan Sheehan and Luke Williams. So, Michael Duff, my honest opinion on him, I personally think maybe could have had a bit more time. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision that we got rid of him, but I think, maybe would have turned things around. I'm not too sure. I don't think we would have finished any higher than we did, but maybe he would have won the fans over a bit more. We did have a 4-game unbeaten run, and that was about it for the whole season, to be honest with you. But yeah, I just don't think, he won the dressing room over nor the fans. Alan Sheehan did a great job. I know he got that win over Rotherham, which was our first win in quite a while when he took over for that short period. And then Luke Williams, since he's come in, I think he's been excellent, to be honest with you. Really won the fans over. There's been performances sometimes that have looked like Michael Duff performances, but at the end of the day, it just shows how much, how much you need someone who cares about football to be in the dressing room, and you've seen that before and after the Cardiff game. But yeah, what would you say on the managers we've had this season then?
Well, yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, to be honest. I think, with Michael Duff, I agree with you that his football was decent, but I just don't think it really fitted the Swansea way and how we want our team to properly play. Alan Sheehan, yeah, I agree. I thought he was very good for us. Obviously, he was only here for a short period of time until we brought in Luke Williams, but I thought he did a good job nonetheless with not much experience. And then Luke Williams, yeah, he's done okay so far since he's come in. Obviously, we had that good run towards the end of the season. Unfortunately, losing to Millwall home, like you said earlier on in the video, which kind of ruined it a little bit. But there's definitely stepping stones and building blocks to work from, and I think he's done an okay job so far.
Yeah, now we're going to move on to how we've improved this season on last. So to be completely honest with you, there's not, really many improvements this season. I'd say the one thing we have improved on, I don't know whether it's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, with the way it's gone, but we have made more signings. Again, I'm going to say I don't know whether they're necessarily the right ones, but we have, gone out there and brought more players in and, changed it up. But it couldn't necessarily be a bad thing as well, because we're bringing in too many new faces, and a lot of them didn't even play. But I'd say that's the one thing we've improved on. We've gone out there and we've looked for more players than we did last season and brought more in. But that's the only real improvement I can see from next season. So what would you say, if any?
Well, I think the improvement, I feel like, with Luke Williams, obviously all our fans like him already. Obviously with Duff, we didn't really know what to expect. But obviously with Williams now, we know the system he wants to play. So I suppose that's a positive to a certain extent. I think, I agree with you on the signings, because, over the last few seasons, especially with Russell Martin in charge, I remember in his last season, in the January transfer window, he wasn't able to make a single signing. And now all of a sudden, Michael Duff got all the power, and he was able to spend as much money as he liked. Obviously I'm glad that the owners are, starting to give us money now to spend. Obviously spending money, a decent amount of money on Jerry Yates, Josh Tyman, and we are actually starting to spend money on Ronald as well, obviously. But yeah, we've definitely made a lot more signings than we have done over the last few seasons, which is great. And I feel like we need to keep on doing that, just keep on building, keep on signing players that will fit Luke Williams' system. But yeah, I pretty much agree with what you've said.
Yeah, and now we're going to talk about standout players of the seasons. Obviously, we've touched on the standout signings, but if you look across the whole season, these are the standout players then, in our opinion. So for me, I'll probably go with, Matt Grimes. He had a very good season, to be honest with you, as he always does. I don't think he missed a single game, to be honest with you, in the Championship, or a minute. I think he played every minute of every game, just like Carl Rushworth would be another one of my picks. I think Jamal, though, was excellent, at times, same with Liam Cullen. I think Jamie Patterson was very good throughout the course of the season. You got the two fullbacks, Josh Tymon and Josh Key. We were both good at some point during the season. So I think other than those players I just mentioned, I can't really think of anybody else. But who are the standout players to you this season then?
Yeah, I definitely agree on those ones, no doubt. I think if Josh Key was fully fit, I think he'd be perfect. Because whenever I've seen him play, he has that bad game. So I think he's definitely up there. Rushworth, yeah, like you said. Patterson, yeah, he's been brilliant. Obviously Round when he came in, I think he's had a very, very decent 6 months, but obviously a long way to go for him yet. But I think, yeah, I agree with you. Obviously Grimes, he's been great every season we've had him. I'd say Harry Dyer at the back. I think he's been decent as well. He has chopped and changed positions. Play centre back, right back, and he always gets in from corners, free kicks, of headers. He scored quite a few this season, so I'll definitely put Harry Dyer up there. But yeah, I'll agree with ones that you've also said.
Yeah, now we're going to go onto the best moments of the season then. So you've got a few that it could be, obviously, maybe the appointment of Luke Williams, maybe if any of the signings he brought in, maybe even the sacking of Michael Duff. But there is, one standout moment of the season, and that has to be the 2-0 win over Cardiff at Swansea.com Stadium back in March. We'd lost the first game against them at their place. Prior to that, we'd won 4 in a row. So, it was just a test to see how we'd bounce back. As I said, we won 4 in a row, went on and lost. And then, people at that point were having their doubts, but, if Cardiff were going to do the double or not. But, we bounced back. We made it 5 wins against them in 6. And, that was a turning point in the season, really. I know, again, after that, we went on a bad run. But I think Luke Williams realised that the players, only got up and, got up for the big games, really. And after that, we went on a good run then. But, what's your best moments of the season then?
Well, yeah, I think Cardiff has to be up there, no doubt, especially after, all the shit us fans were getting for losing back in September, which wasn't nice. But, Luke Williams came in, obviously beat them in March. Obviously, he knows what it's like to beat Cardiff, as he worked alongside Martin, and they didn't actually lose a game against them. So, Luke Williams is technically unbeaten against Cardiff, which is obviously nice. So yeah, I think I have to say that, and I think, yeah, I'd say the best moment is bringing in Luke Williams as well, because he's got a connection with the club. He's worked with the club before. He knows what we're like. He knows what some of the players are like, because he's worked with them before. So I think I have to say the Cardiff game and bringing in Luke Williams as a whole.
Yeah, and now we're going to go on to best goals. So we're going to give you two. So we're going to give you one based off the quality of the finish and how good the goal was, and the other one we're going to give based off the occasion. And I think that me and Luke are probably going to agree with both. So I think if you're going based off the occasion and the magnitude of the game, you probably have to go with Jamal Lowe's against Cardiff. I know Liam Cullen's was a good one against Cardiff as well, but that settled the nerves. The Jamal Lowe one right at the end, it sealed the deal. We knew we were beating them. In terms of quality of the finish, I think there's only one you can go with, and that's Josh Ginnelli's in the cup against Northampton. A hell of a finish. Took it past 3 or 4 players and then walloped it in the top right corner. But yeah, what would be your best goal in terms of both the occasion and the quality of the finish then?
I think occasion, I'll definitely agree with you on Jamal Lowe's goal, because, Cullen's was also class, but I think Lowe's one is definitely up there for the occasion. In terms of quality, I'll change it up. I'll go for Liam Walsh's goal against Huddersfield. I think the way he killed it outside the box, put it into the top corner.
Yeah.
Obviously beat Huddersfield easily in that game, but, for a player like him who's obviously struggled with a lot of injuries since coming to the club, he's barely played. For him to just come on and just score an absolute world like that, I think, yeah, that's definitely up there with Josh Journey's goal. I think either one you go for, I think, is very good. But yeah, I'll go for Liam Walsh's goal back in.
Yeah, now we're going to go on to most improved player of the season then. So for me, there's only one answer for this, you know, either because not many of the players that we had last season are here this season, or they are, but they didn't perform. So for me, there's only one standout, you know, player for this, and that has to be Jamie Patterson. You know, the season before last, he was great, first season under Russell Martin. Last season, don't think he got a single goal for us. Didn't play many games until, you know, the last 10 or so games of the season. I think he had a bit of a falling out with Russell at some point. And this season, you know, he's been one of our best players, if not the best. I think he's just behind Jerry Yates and Jamal Lowe in terms of top scorers. But yeah, you know, he's been excellent, and he's really, you know, changed it and turned it around to Swansea now, and hopefully he can stay here next season. But who's your most improved player of the season?
I actually don't know on this one. I think, well, yeah, I could go for Patterson as well. I think I might have to, because obviously, you know, we saw the link up play, you know, in his first season when it was him and Joe Pro up top, and obviously those two formed a good partnership. Obviously last season, I don't really know what happened to him. I don't know if he kind of fell out with Martin, or if it was just some sort of injuries he had, or some personal stuff. But something obviously really affected him, and then he's obviously come back this season, and well, I think it just shows that, you know, he does really care about the club now. He wants to work hard, and, you know, he wants to, you know, make a name for himself, and I think he has this season especially. So yeah, I'll go for Patterson as well.
Yeah, obviously the top goal scorers then were Jerry Yates and Jamal Lowe, combined with 9 each, I believe. So now we're going to give you the player of the season then, in our opinion. So again, there's a few you could choose from: Matt Grimes, Carl Rushworth, Jamie Patterson, as I just mentioned, Josh Key, Josh Tyman. But again, for me, there's only one standout player, and that's the guy who actually did win it, both from the fans and the players, and that's Carl Rushworth. Been excellent in between the sticks this season. You know, it'd be really good if we could get him back next season. I don't think it's going to happen, but, you know, that would be some excellent business if we could get him back in. You know, in my opinion, he's probably been our best keeper since the Premier League, either him or that man there, Freddie Woodman. You know, it's a close one between those two. Maybe Carl Rushworth, you know, in a lot of fans' eyes, is probably the best we've had, and, you know, it's certainly since Fabianski anyway. So yeah, for me, he's the player of the season. But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I think I will go for Rushworth, but I think I'd love to give Josh Tyman a close second. I think at the start of the season, I thought he was just pretty average, but I thought as the season grew on, I thought he was absolutely superb. You know, chipping in with assists. Going against Huddersfield, I remember that, and yeah, I think, you know, he's definitely sustained that left back position. You know, he definitely deserves to be a starter from now on. But yeah, Rushworth, no doubt. It's hard to choose anyone else other than him, really. You know, if it wasn't for him, I think we'd definitely be like similar to where Birmingham are, really fighting in that relegation zone without Rushworth. So he has saved us quite a lot, and I respect him a lot for that. So yeah, I'll go for him as well.
Yeah, now the final thing we're going to talk about then is how we improve for next season and where we think we'll finish. I know we will do a proper prediction video, but for now we're just going to give an early sort of prediction. It'll probably be horribly wrong, but yeah, how I think we can improve. I think there's a few things. I think we'll need to be a bit more thorough with getting players out the door. If they don't want to be you know, get them out. We need to bring in more players, but the right signings. And I think the key one is just not to have a poor start to the season. You know, the last 2 or 3 seasons we've had a really poor start, and it's affected us for the rest of the season, and we've picked up form later on. If we can pick up the form from the get-go, there's no reason why we can't be pushing higher up the table. But yeah, how do you think we'll improve on next season?
Well, yeah, I think you've summed it up well. I think we definitely need to make more signings to the squad. Obviously, we have a lot of loan players going back to their clubs, so obviously we need to try and bring in some permanent players over the line. We do also have to try and sell some of the deadwoods that don't want to be, you know, we have some people that are aging now, like players like Cal Norton, Joe Allen. You know, I would like to keep them because they do love the club and they've been here for many, many years, but, you know, we need to try and bring in younger players now and try and develop them. You know, we do need experienced players as well to help us, but I think, yeah, we should try and make more signings. maybe try and be, you know, a bit different in terms of the way we play. Maybe not stick to the same tactics. Maybe we should try and change it up a little bit, because otherwise we'll get found out. But yeah, I think yeah, as you said, just make a lot more signings and sell Deadwood.
Yeah, so early prediction then, round about the same as last season. I'm going to say 12th, maybe a little bit of an improvement, but yeah, what about you?
Well, I think if we can get top 10, that'll be great, but realistically, it depends on the signings we make.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite hard to, you know, make a prediction now, but if we make some decent signings, hopefully get a top 10 finish, I'd happily take that this season. I just hope we improve from this season, to be honest. Obviously, it's been an absolute shocker. So I hope we can finish in the top 10, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, once again, obviously a massive thanks for watching this. We'll be back soon for another video. In the next video, we'll rank our best away days of the season that we've both done. So yeah, that'll be the next time you see us. So once again, as always, a massive thanks for watching this, and stay tuned for the next one.